Good afternoon. Thank you again, Danny, Graham. Thank you very much for inviting us to take part today. We're very privileged to be part of this conference. If I can introduce myself, my name's Nicola Denbow and I'm the lead nurse at Marie Curie Hospice. And this is Lisa Butterfield and she's the sister in the day therapy unit at the hospice. We both have been at the hospice about 3 years now, and we both come from this trust, having had a background of working in the accident emergency department alongside Danny for over 15 years. I'm acutely aware that lunch follows us, and we were quite worried about stretching our presentation out for 20 minutes, so you can be quite rest assured that we won't be here any longer than 20 minutes, and we'll move into dinner. So Marie Curie Hospice in Bradford, it's a 16-bedded specialist palliative care unit. Today, hospices are very much so much more than somewhere where people just go to die. Hospices are busy and vibrant places that offer the very best in care and support. And our hospice in Bradford ensures terminally ill patients and their families from across the Bradford and Airedale district have the best quality of care before they die. Families continue to receive bereavement care after the death of their loved one as well. We are set on a hill. Not a lot of people know where we are. We're at the top of Leeds Road. We have stunning views across Bradford. And our hospice offers a modern approach to care, and it has a very friendly and welcoming atmosphere. And last year alone, we looked after over 600 patients and their families who were all terminally ill. We offer specialist care and support for people, not only with cancer, but also with other life-limiting illnesses such as heart failure, chronic obstructive airways disease, motor neuron disease, and lots of other terminal conditions, including dementia. And all of our services are completely free. Our inpatient unit's got 16 beds, and we have a fully equipped day therapy unit 5 days a week. And a lot of our services, such as occupational therapy and physiotherapy, are also offered in the patients' homes. We have an average length of stay of 10 to 14 days, generally, and about 50% of our patients come in for terminal care and the other 50% come in for symptom control. So they're not just places to go to die. As our population ages, the numbers of people living with terminal illness is set to rise significantly over the next 20 years or so. We heard Danny's figures. We're beginning to see an increase in the numbers of patients who are diagnosed with other terminal conditions, such as cancer and dementia or heart disease and liver failure. And this means hospices like Marie Curie, which is going to care for patients with complex care needs, we're going to become even more vital in the future. We are a charitable organisation. Bradford Marie Curie Hospice is one of 9 of our hospices, so we are part of an organisation around the 4 nations. And we rely heavily on fundraising support and the support of other organisations. It costs about £3.3 million to keep Bradford Hospice running every year, which is about £10,000 a day. A majority of that's fundraised. The idea to purchase, again, I'm going to call it the My Life system, the DRTS bit, never even heard of today. We call it My Life, it's the My Life system. And the idea to purchase the My Life system was born probably 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it, I think? Probably nearer 3. And it came on the following of the introduction to the system through BRI and through Knowing Danny. And a number of bids were submitted for a variety of grants to be able to purchase the machine, to secure the funding to purchase the system. And we were very fortunate to secure funding from the Yorkshire Young Achievers Foundation. Their foundation provides direct support to young people, and they set up projects specifically to help young people across our region. And following a successful bid, we were granted the money to purchase the My Life system for our hospice on the specific proviso that we would use the system to benefit young people. My Dementia network system was a challenge to work out, to win the bid, for them to give us the money on the specific proviso we would use it for young people. And we've heard a number of presentations already today about how the system can be used with patients living with dementia. And whilst we saw the potential for its use within the hospice for our patients who happen to have either primary diagnosis of dementia or secondary dementia to other terminal conditions, it was really clear, really early on, light bulb moment, wasn't it, in that little room, that we could use the system in a much wider context to ensure that the maximum number of our patients and their families would benefit, in particular the young person. Anissa, our healthcare assistant in day therapy unit, Carol, one of our volunteers, Carol and Jane, and some patients. As many as you know, the system has a number of functions. We've heard about the different varieties of functions, and as you can see here, staff and patients will regularly use the system as an entertainment facility. Quizzes, card games, karaoke, music, the reminiscence therapy, and all of the other systems. Anissa, in the middle there, recently undertook a 10-day trek in Sri Lanka to raise money for the hospice, for the Bradford hospice. She was one of 8 nurses that went as a part of a team of 30. And everybody and its mother knew that Anissa was raising the required amount of fundraising to be able to get herself on the trek, and her patients were involved in a lot of that fundraising in the 12 months prior to them going. Interestingly, we used the system for Anissa to send videos and blogs from Sri Lanka, which we could then play to her patients so they could see where she was as she trekked through the jungle. So that was quite a useful tool back in November. By using the system on a daily basis, the patients are starting to get introduced to the system and its potential benefits for future advanced care planning, which is an incredibly vital part of terminal care. And the idea of the My Life and the passport can be introduced at this stage just by using the system. I'm going to pass you across to Lisa, who's going to just tell you a little bit about individual functions that we've used.
Hi. So when we first got the My Life unit, we didn't get any training on it initially because we'd only had it for a few days, and the potential to help a patient came within the first hour of having the unit in the day therapy unit. And that was a lady that came with Parkinson's disease, and her husband was very distressed. She was due to go into respite care, and the last time she'd gone into respite care, she needed to have her medicines on time. As you're all aware, Parkinson's disease, you get lots of different symptoms from Parkinson's disease, and if you don't have your medications on time, this can make you quite unwell and unable to communicate. And I thought about the passport, so I made her husband go home and get me loads of pictures, and we managed our way through the unit, and we managed to do a passport for this lady. And what we did, we put on about her medicines and how she needed to have them on time, and that some days she wasn't able to put them in her own mouth. So if the carer came in and noticed that her medicines were there and she hadn't taken them, could they please ensure that she took them? One of the other things that we did is, if you look on the other side of the passport, it says about a few personal things about the patient. And one of the things that we found out about this lady while we were talking to her was the fact that she delivered her own granddaughter on the driveway. So we put that down. And she also liked a glass of red wine on an evening, so we put that down. And she also liked to go cycling in the younger days, so we put that down. And her husband went away with his passport as he was going away sailing for a week. He took his wife to respite care. And when he came back 2 weeks later, they were both really, really happy because everybody had gone into a room, read that she delivered a granddaughter, and we're all absolutely amazed. And that just struck up a conversation with everybody. And so she felt like she'd made friends in the home and couldn't wait to go back. Instead of worrying about going into respite, she was really happy about going there. The other thing that we decided to do was the My Life storybook. In day therapy, we traditionally do memory boxes for patients. And I think sometimes this is, if you're a little bit arty and a little bit crafty, you're quite happy to do memory boxes and save things and knickknacks. But in today's society, we all like technical things. The younger people like technical things. So when I was talking to Graham about the life story book, we decided that it would be really lovely to make a memory book for patients that came into the hospice. But we didn't know how that was going to work. So what we decided to do, because some patients are too ill to be worrying about technical issues and whether it was going to work out. So what we decided was that some members of staff would do a memory book. So Kathy, one of our healthcare assistants, she made a memory book. And we're just passing that round, and that's just a picture book with a few words, and something that she's going to give to her children, so that can be carried down the family, and everybody would know a little bit about her family. And then we decided that I would do a book, and the reasons why I was doing a book was initially 7 years ago my husband died, but 7 years ago this technology wasn't there, so we weren't able to do a memory book for my husband. So I thought, well, is there a reason why I can't do a memory book? And I thought, no, there's no reason why I can't do a memory book. So I decided to do one for my husband, Peter, and for our children, Matthew and Sam. And I thought it'd take me an hour, and I've been doing my book for about 4 weeks now, and I've now borrowed a unit off Graham, and I've got my own unit at home, but I'm doing a memory book for my children, and now I call it the family heirloom. So what I'm doing, it's not a finished book, and it'll never be a finished book, because it's just going to pass down generations, and everybody's going to add a little bit to that book. Just go to the next slide, please.
I think the important thing for us is to distinguish between the difference between the life story book and the legacy book for our group of patients. The life story book we use when patients are still in the hospice, and they can produce the book and work with their families to produce the book. The legacy book can be done before death or after death. So it's about using the functions in different ways.
So we've started a really new and exciting project, and I don't know whether any of you are aware of it, but now there's a way of saving these legacy books on the cloud. And unfortunately, Usman and his wife Farah, they're now piloting this new legacy book that we're doing, and we've actually lent them a unit. We visited them in the home, showed them how to use the unit, and they are now doing their own memory book at home. Usman has got motor neurons disease, so he's unable to use his arms and doesn't speak very well, but he communicates very well with his wife, and she is able to help him do the memory book or the legacy book. And instead of things being stored on the unit, they're actually stored in the cloud. So there's no actual information on that unit, it's all stored away in the cloud. And the good thing about the cloud and the way that we're doing the legacy book is that extended family that may be in Pakistan or down in London or up in Scotland, they can all have a username and password that Usman would give them, and they can then get Usman's book and they can write a page of that book. And they can talk about their part in his life and memories that they have of him. Usman particularly wanted us to talk about his book that he's doing because he's got 2 very small children, and they've only ever known Usman as being somebody that's been unwell and has got this disease, and he wants to leave a legacy behind where his children can see that he was a young man that was active, that did lots of different things before motor neurons took hold of him. And he's also thinking of doing another book where he can just leave something for his wife as well. And the other thing about the cloud and about the legacy is that it isn't just going to be a book, it isn't just a particular book. It can also be something that you keep on a memory stick, or obviously in the cloud, and it's where we can have timed events. So Usman may not be here for his daughter's 18th birthday, or when she gets married, or when, any special event happens where they maybe go to university and they graduate. So what you can do is do a timed video, so that on their 18th birthday, the video there'll be a password, and the video will come up, and you won't be able to get it up until that date, and there can be a message for his daughter on her 18th birthday or her 21st birthday, or when she gets married, or when she graduates, or when his grandchildren come along. So nobody will ever forget Usman, even when he's not here.
So what does the future hold? Well, it's exciting. We're excited. We bubble with enthusiasm. I'm not sure Graham knows how to cope with us some days. There's, as well as using the system on the daily basis for all those reasons, entertainment system, the distraction for patients with dementia, because obviously we use it for that as well, the ability to produce the passports and the My Lives and the My Legacies. We see a great use of the system going forward in terms of pre and post bereavement care, particularly for young people, which is where we're getting in. Going forward into the future, we're already looking at expanding and exploring expansion of the system in terms of incorporating patients whose first language isn't English. A number of our patients don't speak English, and a number of their families don't speak English, so it's about working with Graham and the system to make the system do what we want it to do to meet the needs of all of our patients, of all of our cohort. We're already working with the designers of the system. to ensure that we further develop the cloud function so that we can start to use this system to reach even more people who are living with terminal illness, to make sure that they can share their stories before they die. Thank you.